Hi, I like comics, Star Trek, GB movies, indie music, and cats. I have depression, I'm pretty sure I'm autistic, and I'm exploring my gender identity with the goal of eventually transitioning to be a woman. Hi, I like comics.
Hi guys, and welcome to Tailored Talk. Today, I'm going to talk about Peetz and whether transitioning is really in his future, in my opinion. Now, I realize that transitioning is a really extremely personal choice, and I realize that some viewers that watch this may feel like I'm out of line for talking about a personal choice, but Pete did choose to put this on a public platform, so I thought it would be interesting to evaluate his situation. So, for people who have heard Pete talk about his gender identity and transitioning, um, and have no idea what he's talking about, I'm just going to add in a clip that kind of explains gender identity and transitioning into another gender in a nutshell. Let's take a look.
Traditionally, we tend to think of gender as decided by the body we're born in.
People are usually assigned female or male at birth.
But bodies and gender are actually pretty separate things.
Gender is basically part of someone's internal sense of self.
It can be male, female, neither, a mix of both, or exist totally outside of that.
A person's relationship with their gender can also change over time as well.
The gender we're assigned at birth usually gets reinforced by the people around us over our lives.
Hearing things like, be a man, or you're such a girl.
It can feel like we're being told who we're supposed to be.
Most people feel comfortable with the gender that they're assigned.
But for some people,
example,
that label never
facial
quite fits
feminisation
and
surgery.
doesn't feel right.
Pete can
That's
change
what's
his
called
face
being
with surgery to look more female.
Gender.
There is chest surgery. He can get implants. So disclaimer, guys. I am not also opt for what is known as everything in this video or just SRS and opinions and just private areas research that I've done. Not every trans woman or every trans man gets bottom surgery. It's purely up to the individual. So we'll go through the different stages. Now let's say Pete goes through with this and actually wants to transition and become a woman. Well, where does he start? Well, he goes to his GP, his primary doctor, and he'll probably get therapy to talk about his gender dysphoria. And gender dysphoria is gender confusion. Now, he may speak to more than one therapist about this. So if the therapist give him the thumbs up, he then may be able to get hormone treatment from his general doctor or a nurse. Now, during these changes, Pete may want to change his birth name. He may change it altogether, or he may shorten it to make it sound ambiguous. Now, it is worth noting that there are trans men and trans women out there that do not like or choose hormone therapy. There are trans people that do not want any surgery or hormones and do not make any changes to their bodies, but still identify as trans. Now, he may like the changes of the hormones and decide that he just wants to take the hormones only and turn down the surgery. But if Pete does choose surgery, there are plenty of things that he can do to make his body more feminine. This is a clip from Dr. Gallagher on YouTube about what trans women can expect on the day of their SRS surgery.
Hi, this is Dr Sidhbh Gallagher. I'm going to talk you through what the usual sequence of events is when you have male to female bottom surgery or vaginoplasty with us here in Indianapolis. So first things first, the day before surgery you usually have to take off work, and that is because you're doing what's called the bowel prep. So for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of an experience of a bowel prep for a colonoscopy or something like that, basically what it means is we give you medication that cleans out your colon. And that's a nice way of saying we give you medication that makes you have diarrhea. And you have so much diarrhea, in most cases you run clear. Now, why would we do something so cruel and unusual? Well, this is because we're working in an area and we're creating a new vagina right down beside where the rectum is. So we want to clean that out as best as possible, just in case there were anything that needed to be done, any sort of surgery that needed to be done to the rectum itself. It's clean and ready for that to be done, number one. And number two, you're going to have a little bit of respite. You're going to have a little bit of time after your surgery where hopefully you're not going to have to go number two or poop, and therefore you're going to be able to recover a little bit more comfortably from your bottom surgery. So you're doing this from about halfway through the day before your bottom surgery, and then you're coming in to see us the morning of surgery. Usually it's an early start, usually 2 hours before your surgery. You come in, we put you in a hospital gown, we put an IV in, and we have you meet your anesthesiologist. And so your anesthesiologist and their team will answer any questions you have about what medications they will give you, and then you go off to sleep for the surgery itself. And most patients will tell me that their experience with that is it's like they blink and their surgery's done.
The big question I have is, will Peetz ever go this far into his transition?
This is Dr. Sidhbh Gallagher.
My opinion is absolutely not. I don't think Peetz has the desire, or is mentally or physically, psychologically mature enough to transition from male to female. I think that he's depressed and he's grasping at straws to try and make himself happy, which isn't uncommon. When it was certain that Chantal was going to move with Salah, Peetz is the same person that went live and whined and bitched and complained about having to be a peasant like normal people and work a 9-to-5 job. Do you really think that he'll work hard to transition successfully, to go to therapy and gender clinic appointments, to wake up early, to travel, to keep in regular contact with his doctors and nurses? I don't think so. I mean, luckily, he has an amazing family that will support him. But society in general can be very tough and just treat trans people like crap. They can be very harsh, bully and people bully and harass trans people on a regular basis, and trans women get the most heat, especially.
And investigators are looking into a hate crime after 3 transgender women were attacked and 1 allegedly robbed. The victims say instead of helping them, witnesses mocked them. Matt Gutman has that story, and we should warn you, this video may be hard to watch.
The LAPD says it's closing in on the suspect in this vicious apparent hate crime. This video, a 26-minute chronicle of harassment of 3 transgender women right on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The incident and that mockery.
So as you can see, Peetz,
igniting a firestorm on social media. Eden Estrada, Jasleen Boussinet, and Jocelyn Allen say the man had been hassling them earlier.
Killed.
Then he stole Estrada's
when
phone.
When you transition, unfortunately, you don't become immune from that type of behaviour. Now, like Foodie Beauty, Pete is addicted to the dopamine effect. For example, we all know that foodie is addicted to the dopamine rush. For example, when Frank got into Foodie Beauty's car for the first time, that triggered elation, and some say that triggered the whole Tinder going out to meet guys. That triggered elation, and some say that triggered the whole Tinder going out to meet guys stuff that she was doing. Frank was the first guy that's been in her car since Peetz in forever. She went Tinder crazy, meeting Nick, kissing Nick on the first date, letting him rub on her stomach. She got with Nader. Everything that happened with that and the Crackhead Olympics and CPAP Rescue, that all started with Frank. So she also does the same with food. She loves fast food. It gives her the dopamine rush. She orders fast food in excess, cross-dressing as Ramona. That's how he gets his dopamine rush. And he feels like Superwoman. That he honestly feels like a lot of people do sometimes, that becoming a woman or becoming someone else is going to cure his depression and solve all his problems. Kind of like the Talented Mr. Ripley saga. And I've got to tell you, Peetz, speaking to trans people and looking at people's stories and researching their stories and hearing their struggles, being trans isn't going to be a stroll in the park. It's not going to be a cakewalk. You're not just going to be able to click your fingers and look like Margot Robbie or Florence Pugh or whoever you want to look like. It will get a lot harder before it gets easier, and transitioning may be one of the hardest things that you will ever have to do if you choose to do it. Do as much research as you can and speak to as many trans people as you can about their individual experiences when you finally decide if you want to do it. And remember, Peetz, there's nothing wrong with just being a cross-dresser. There's nothing wrong with being gender fluid, and there's nothing wrong with being a cross-dresser that enjoys having feminine days off and detaching yourself from manhood and masculinity every once in a while. Okay, guys, that's the end of the vid. Let me know in the comments if you think that Peetz will ever be ready for a transition as big as this. Let me know what you think of the whole situation. Thank you for your time. Thanks for listening.